Introduce the Hakka culture to the Western world. Olivia, Sherry, and I will introduce a bit about the background, and then Cole and Kenny will talk about the feats that the Hakka village is now facing. And Carly, Janet, Bianca, and Kiwa will give out some suggestions. First of all, Hakka village is usually located in the northeast part of New Territories. The villages in there are usually superstitious. That means they will lay some emphasis on feng shui or something else. For example, the villages in Lai Chi Wo, the villages in Lai Chi Wo are surrounded by 3 feng shui walls. So it shows that they are really think this is important to them. Also, most of the villages migrated to a foreign culture in 1960s and some yes. So there are few original villages in there.
Do you know what will happen if the villages are not being preserved? The rich historical value will be destroyed. For example, there is an old Canberra as the Hakka village, which the villagers believed that it is representing the god, and so they won't let everyone, even the Japanese soldiers, cut off the tree. They respect the creature. Only when those villages are reserved can this kind of respect be saved. Now I will pass the time to Sherry.
Besides, Lai Chi Wo also shows us the neighborhood and the hospitality between villagers. For example, David, one of the villagers in the Lai Chi Wo village, he introduced to us that the history of Lai Chi Wo cordially. And besides, the aunties there also are very helpful and they are willing to share their experiences to us. Therefore, for example, their treatments were a loss of Hakka food, and therefore we think that this kind of labor should be reserved. And now, Kenny will talk about the difficulties the villagers face.
For the difficulties of preserving the village, it is known that the village is in some rural area, and especially it has only opened this place to the public for only 1 year, so its reputation cannot catch too many eyes of the foreign tourists. And due to this reason, Lai Chi Wo is lack of the infrastructure and facility when comparing to other villages or traditional cultural heritage. And this may lower the willingness of the foreign tourists and even the locals to visit this place. Besides, Lai Chi Wo is also lack of the support from government and entrepreneurship. This place does not have the symbolic historical building or natural views that have the value for them to start developing this place and promoting to it to the world as a tourist spot of Hong Kong and other countries.
Besides, fewer engagement from the villagers and the residents are also is one of the difficulty in promoting the Hakka village to the visitors. Due to the migration wave in the 1970s, most of the villages has departed to the European countries, especially England, for a better education for their offspring. Therefore, Lai Chi Wo has become the wasteland endeavor since the late 1980s. Even in 2013, none of the villages came back for rehabilitation and reconstruction of the village. Since the villagers have left away from the Lai Chi Wo, the Hakka food culture cannot survive and pass to the next generation. Seldom do people eat and make Hakka dishes which made by Lai Chi Wo tourists and Lai Chi Wo residents. Therefore, the tourists cannot enjoy the Hakka food made by the Lai Chi Wo residents. And it's time for us to tell about the suggestions from the Janet.
So, after talking about all these threats that Hakka culture is now facing, so we really wanted to introduce the Hakka culture to the Western world, not only for generate money, but to introduce and also preserve the Hakka culture, because this culture is so valuable. We will suggest it from different angles, but let's start with how do those Hakka citizens can do. First, we think the Hakka citizen can introduce the new fusion dishes. Not only their own traditional food, but also how do they merge their traditional food with the Western food features. For example, charcoal spaghetti. make the charcoal as the small dumpling size, and then put together with the spaghetti, maybe add some tomato sauce or like white sauce. This, I think, will be much more welcoming than those traditional spaghetti, and I'm sure that Western people will love it because they cannot taste it elsewhere, but only in our place. Second, we think nowadays those tourists were so eager to find accommodation cheaply. So we think Hakka culture can introduce couch surfing, or they can make a new accommodations in a cheaper price in Airbnb in their village, which, of course, you know, most of the Hakka citizens are poor. So how can they do? We think they can find the fundings from the government to invite or to motivate foreign tourists to stay overnight in their village, so that those tourists can experience the most original lifestyle of the Hakka people. So let's, Bianca will keep talking about the suggestion from the different angles.
Yes, except for the Airbnb, villagers can also use the social media to promote the village. For instance, we can use Facebook because of people who are all around the world can see the posts of pictures or videos on Facebook and be attracted to visit the village. And also we can produce the websites and we can upload some photos of the natural view or the maybe video of making the traditional food. But I think that it is not easy for the foreign tourists to make their food in the internet to know how the step is. And I think that we can also produce some of the class and let them know that there is some class in their village and they may catch foreign tourists' eye and they will go to the village to learn how to make the food and be attractive. And then Kenny will introduce some of the non-government organizations of the city.
So in terms of the economic aspect, I think the government can fund some, and there will be some tour guide teaching the foreign visitors to speak Hakkas and introduce them to the way to make tea cake and any other Hakka food, and also visit some important Hakka building like the General Wall and teach them the rule and the regulation when they're visiting the exchange. Also, we can also implement the follow-up method that the Hong Kong government can fund the Hakka villages to buy some more packaging machine to better package their Hakka souvenir for the foreigners to buy. They can buy some packaging machine to print some more unique and ancient China-like or customized shape on the tea cake, and then they can bring to home and share with their families. So that's all our presentation. Thank you so much.